Pro Football Talks, Mike Florio is reporting the current information we have. Bills-Bengals won't happen. The NFL is currently figuring out how to configure the AFC playoffs without that game. Could an 8-team be added to eliminate the bye week for the number one seed? We do not know if that last sentence there is just punditry from Mike Florio and his thoughts of what could be, or if that's from the information that he's getting from the inside source that he definitely has. He has been one of the authorities on football information for like 2 decades at this point. For me, this is a fascinating answer. This is the NFL saying the conversation about the number one seed and what's good is obviously you get home field advantage and everything. But that bye week is something that everybody wants. So if the bye week is what everybody is holding in the highest regards, we could eliminate that. Then everybody loses something that could have potentially been on the table for them. Yep. We add another team, 8 teams to this whole thing. Everybody just plays the AFC side a little bit different than the NFC side, and we move forward as is. That's a fascinating angle to go about fixing the current issue.
Yeah.
I do love, Darius, and we talked about this during the break, that the NFL said, okay, we can get more football out of this.
Here we go.
And it's fair for literally everybody.
Yep.
I wonder how long it took to get to this potential offer, or if this is just Florio kicking this around right now.
Yeah, that last, it kind of looks like it's him kicking it around, but I mean, it would be interesting.
It would be fair. I think that would be
as fair as it can get, I guess, and it would be more football for fans, which would be obviously a good thing coming from a very, very bad thing. But I don't know. It'd be very, very interesting.
It is very interesting. This is, once again, no blueprint, unprecedented. The NFL obviously had to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge through the COVID era in making up and figuring out what the best answer is. How do we reschedule games? How do we keep everybody safe? We'll play on Wednesday. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll move games to a different place. It's like they've had to do this in the most recent history. So this isn't completely out of the ordinary of the modern world that we've been living in for the past 3 years or whatever. But this would be something.
Yeah.
8 teams in the AFC make the playoffs. That changes the playoff picture for a lot of people all of a sudden going into Week 18. More specifically, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And also the New England Patriots, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much Tony wants to be in the playoffs. I know I definitely don't want to be in the playoffs as a fan of the team and what we've seen, but they also already have a spot open, too.
Getting a dance.
Yeah, for sure. We're getting ready to
Anything
dance.
can happen, you get a dance.
Yeah, anything can happen. Actually, we found out what can happen last
the whole
year
fucking thing.
when the Bills had a perfect game against the Patriots. And we can also think about, they can get in the dance, and for 4 or 5 days, we get to say, nice, you're in the dance. And then that entire next week, you guys just got fucking boat raced.
Oh, you're talking about what we would have to do? 'Cause
Exactly.
Colts aren't in anymore, so the critiques of the Colts are now, we know we suck.
Bingo.
What's the future look like? The future's bright, though. Look at the pick we got.
Yeah.
You make it to the playoffs, especially in an 8-team playoff for the AFC side.
Yeah.
And you just get boat raced at the beginning. Everybody's gonna be like, it didn't matter. Like,
Yeah,
exactly who we thought was going to. You guys are so. We made the play. You guys are.
Who
so.
cares?
That's a whole conversation.
The playoff check,
But you just playoff checks are good for the coaches. Great for the coaches.
Yeah, need that.
Great for everybody in the building. But this is a fascinating theory that we did not come up with whenever we were brainstorming on the thought. Joining us now is a man who is a college football national champion,
Wide.
Super Bowl champion,
Wide.
and an internet expert,
Yeah.
Right.
Hell yeah.
influencer, AJ Hawk.
Yeah, AJ!
This has got to be Florio, just throwing it out there, right? Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's interesting proposal. I never thought of adding an 8th team, but I feel like that's a lot.
Yeah, we never thought of that. I think that's why I was most surprised whenever Connor read it on his phone during the commercial break, read it aloud, and I was like, oh, we hadn't even thought of that or whatever. And then once I saw the way it was tweeted, first thought is that Florio, or is that his inside source saying, here's some ideas that are being pitched and maybe float it, let's see the reaction there. I think coming from your perspective, I think it is a fair thing. I think would be a fair option. How do you feel about it, AJ, actually?
Well, I instantly think of like logistics. So we have an extra game, right? And it's going to be played at wherever the 1 seed is. That's where we played, which is probably Kansas City.
Yeah, they have time slate open.
Bills would have been, though.
Man.
Bills would have been 1 seed. They win.
So do you add one to the NFC too to make it fair? Add an 8th team there so there's no buys anywhere?
So here's another update from Pro Football Talks Mike Florio, Paisano Florio. Here's a look at where things currently stand as the scheduling. 1, no Bills-Bengals game. 2, NFL figuring out what to do with AFC seeding. Okay. 3, neutral site for AFC championship is possible.
That would
I
take
think
one
does that
field
do?
out
I
of
think
it.
it would be fair because the Bills beat the Chiefs earlier in the season. So, like, the Bills not getting the 1 seed.
The Bills having to go back to
having
Kansas
home-
City.
Right.
We talked about that yesterday. We
Changed my mind.
said,
I
could you
hate it.
imagine if the Bills
What that'll
end up having to go to Kansas City,
Let's make you mad.
obviously for the championship?
Yeah. After beating them there already earlier this
Yes.
year.
Yeah, and they have
And
like,
last year's.
there will be, even though the DeMar Hamlin,
Yes.
that was the scariest thing of all time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Scariest thing of all. So the NFL has to figure this out on the fly, and they will be judged, and people will forget how serious
Yes.
the world was just a couple days ago. People will, as soon as this good news comes out, there will be people, and I'm not saying you should be one of these people. There will be people 2 weeks from now, whenever something happens, that'll be like, "Why? Remember they added an 8th team, and remember they chose it." Like that whole. There will be people that will judge the NFL very harshly for everything that happens here. It sounds like they are trying their best to make it a fair operation,
Absolutely.
while also not forfeiting any football, which is obviously going to be. I think that's the fairest way, right? You play your way in. That's probably how they're selling this whole thing. And then the last one, expansion of playoff fields to 8 teams in AFC and NFC is possible. So it would be both sides, 18. That changes Week 18 all of a sudden out of nowhere as
yeah.
well.
Yeah,
For sure.
neutral site
Then
gets
you
rid of
think
that
they're-
conversation
Spawn
too
some
of
teams
like,
back
oh,
in.
if the Bills lose to the Chiefs at Kansas City in the AFC Championship, well, it should have been in Buffalo, but if they do it at a neutral site, that kind of
Where are they
X's that out.
Where are they going to go? They're going to take that game to. Detroit's going to be playing.
Indy's about halfway through there, and you don't have to, put those 2 offense. You don't have to worry about the snow in KC or Buffalo.
Bring the Lucas Oil.
Host stadium?
That'd
And
be
you
sweet.
gotta.
Do we get a suite
Yeah.
for that?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think it's a good idea, Florio. Don't you, Darius? All of a sudden, I think this neutral.
The more I'm reading it, I guess I'm gonna think about it last 2 minutes. I don't like it.
How come?
It's just kind of Mickey Mouse.
It is kinda-
And now you know.
If they do go to 8, they'll never go back.
Yeah, that's the other
Oh,
thing.
bummer.
They
More
go-
football.
They go.
We're talking about
You
is-
don't have the bye
yeah.
week though. That's something you work obviously all season for. Get that bye
See,
week.
the
get
NFL
that
though
home
can
field.
grandstand so hard.
Yeah.
They can grandstand so hard because this is more football, more games being played for the players. But isn't this the games you want? This is what you guys have been working for all years. This is
In
this
all-
extra game.
in
Like
all
that
honesty,
is
though.
that is literally it is an easily fan. You win the you win the mob, you
Mob,
win Rome, or
yeah,
something like that.
right.
Yes, you
The
do.
NFL could very easily,
And
you
they get a
know,
pass right now because this is unprecedented right now.
Correct.
So whatever they do this would be a great way for them to kind of
Easy.
get it in there. And it's like, all
Everybody
right, this
loved
is
it,
what
right?
it is. You know what? It was great last year. Let's just stick with it. But I think obviously we had the tragic situation on the field. But at this point, you forfeit the game, you flip a coin, you do whatever it is, you keep the 7 teams, and you just go from there. I think all the players, all the coaches will just understand it, the fans as well, and then you move on as is. But adding an extra game, taking away home field advantage, like a neutral site for the AFC Championship.
that'd be
like that,
crazy.
like-
It'd be too corporate. It'd be like a corporate Super Bowl,
Yeah.
corporate AFC Championship almost. You know what I mean?
But to your point too, in terms of money, like if they're adding,
good for us,
if
but-
they're adding
It
2
might be
games on wild card
final.
weekend, like that's just they're opening that up to the highest bidder of any of the networks. Like
Amazon.
All right, yeah. Who wants the game?
Sure.
Amazon, you want it. NBC, you guys want it. Like whoever offers us the most money is going to get this fucking extra game that we didn't think we were going to have.
There's been a lot of things we have chatted about on this show where I've been like in my head, I'm like, players are going to hate this. Players are going to hate this. And I'm not saying the players are going to hate this necessarily. Playoff checks are good. There's a whole nother team getting playoff checks another week. I mean, there's
2 potentially
so many good,
teams.
yeah, for NFC too. Yeah, you're right.
And you
2.
don't get one. You don't get paid for the bye either if you get that.
Yeah, if you're the 1 seed, yeah, which is
Oh,
wild.
really?
That's weird.
That is.
Oh, you did great. Thanks. So good, we don't got to fucking pay you. But you didn't work. Did you do anything? Did we sell any tickets? Didn't think so.
Make it to the Super Bowl.
Did
That's
any
weird.
eyes watch you guys? Did any eyes watch you guys? Did we make any money from any revenue stream? No. That's what we thought. Congrats, 1 seed. You make no money.
Yep.
We'll see you next week, though. Money goes up next week, though. More eyes, more money. It does get higher. But the teams that are not seeded number 1 don't get that check. That was a wild development whenever I was there.
Yeah, that's absurd.
So everybody else gets a check.
What do you mean? why we go 14?
Are we in the building? What do we?
What the fuck?
This is work. We still work. We're not work. What is?
I go
We did
home?
better than everybody else. They make more money. We don't. Well, yeah, of course.
Oh,
That sounds fair.
Didn't you guys think, based on listening to like Harbaugh talk about the circumstances, that everybody'd be okay with this is a no contest.
Moving on.
Oh yeah.
We're going to move forward. Like you said, it's unprecedented. Everybody's going to be cool. You throw something like this in there, and if you're down here, if you're in that 8 spot or whatever, you're going to be cheering, hey, we're in the playoffs. But if you're up here and you've worked your ass off to get the number 1 seed and have home field advantage,
Imagine you lose.
Yeah, that's
That
the.
eight
and then they pick
That
a
won't
warm
happen
weather venue like
the
Kansas City
AFC.
or Buffalo, and then they pick a dome, which is probably what would happen.
Right here in Indiana.
But I
They,
think
they
Chiefs,
pick a dome,
Chiefs and Bills
and
will
then you
find out.
lose that advantage
Offense.
in late January for an AFC championship game and a home field deal.
Yeah, that's why the 1 seed thing, like you could see him being pissed, but you can also see how Kansas City could also think like, hey, we don't really deserve the 1 seed just because of the fact that.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, because the Bills could have went on to lose that
Yeah.
game, but if they were to have won it in Kansas City, still, that's the thing. It's all like questions, but there might not be that much of a corporate event because of how well the Bills and the Chiefs travel.
Yeah, it might be 50.
That'd be
yeah,
more like the college
legitimately.
football playoff that you were just at.
Yeah,
Ohio
bingo.
State, Georgia.
Which was bananas. I don't know if Lucas Oil Stadium's built the same way as Mercedes-Benz Stadium is for sand.
It's a little sleepy
Right.
in there.
It is a little comfortable in the Lucas Oil Stadium.
Uh-huh.
It always wins that, like,
Man, that thing did get when Peyton came back here.
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
Fucker was loud.
was
Patriots last year too. It was impressively loud.
So maybe it's not the building then. Maybe it's just the.
Maybe it's the Marks watching.
Maybe
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe
too.
two they're rooting for.
Yeah.